So Anchorman 2, I really like this movie, and I liked the first one a lot, but I think this one is better, slightly better in my opinion. I think there's more humor in it. I think there's more content. You obviously love these characters, and you get to explore obviously more stuff with them because obviously you've seen the first movie and this is the second movie, and I just think it's a better film. I think, well, first off, I think they're fantastic performances throughout the entire film. I think Steve Carell's always great, and he's always really funny, and Will Ferrell plays character so well, and Paul Rudd's great, and the whammy guy, I don't know his name really, but he's great as well, and Kirsten Wiig's really good in the bit that she plays, and that's great, and it's just a funny movie, and it's what you want. I mean, it's so much more funnier than Chasing Amy, that horrid Kevin Smith film. I wanted to laugh, but it just never happened. But with this movie, I laughed in abundance. I mean, it's so funny, and I also think it's clever. I think it obviously knows that it's poking fun at the news is terrible, news is boring. It is boring, and even you hear some characters saying, "Oh, the news is supposed to be boring," but then they want to change it. They don't want to have this boring sort of format the news is like. And I, uh, I was just expecting to enjoy this movie, and it did just that. I mean, I think it's a really good almost 2 hours. It's about an hour and 53 minutes, but it's just a really good 2 hour pretty much film. And I think that the first one is funny and there are some great things in it, and it is still a good film on its own. But I prefer this one because I think there's more going on with the characters, and I think there are more jokes. And I'm not to say there weren't that many jokes in the first one because there still were a lot, but I personally prefer it because you have like obviously Judd Apatow's behind it, and I like Judd Apatow, and I like Will Ferrell, and obviously you see on the beginning opening credits whatever it's produced and then written by Will Ferrell, and the writing is so good. I mean, all the jokes are really funny, and there's not really anything in it that's bad. I mean, the only thing obviously that you do see in it, Vince Vaughn at the end, the cameo. Spoiler alert. Um, but he's probably the only person in the entire film who actually hasn't been in a good film for a long time. And this is the only good film he's probably been in for quite some time. So when you see him, you're like, oh, this Vince Vaughn, who's not any good anymore, and just does stuff which is boring. But obviously, he plays the role just like from the first one, still good, and that's a nice little appearance to have him at the end. But yeah, it must be the best film he's ever made since obviously the downfall kind of went like with Adam Sandler, obviously. Um, but I just think it's a really funny movie. I mean, for one, I love Brick, and Sequel is always great, and all of his lines are just insanely quotable. And Will Ferrell, he plays the character so well. He has obviously this egotistical sort of way about him, but you just love him because he's Ron Burgundy, and obviously he does mistakes, but then there are even things that he does, but just to save his comrades or all that kind of thing. But to them, obviously, it seems wrong because they don't know or something. But I think he just plays it so well, and there's nobody else who can play Ron Burgundy as well as he does. And also, which I like about this movie compared to Chasing Amy, which was just a big mess, that it's funny and there is strong language and all that adult content, but it doesn't put me off, which Chasing Amy did about 98% of the time. Because, yeah, it was just, it was unbearable. And this movie is not unbearable. It's really good entertainment. I think it's funny. I think it's got a good pace to it. I think it's got a fast, good pace, which is what a good film needs. I think there are jokes, obviously, that if you watch the first one, you will understand. And there's lots of nods to little things and even some stories that did actually happen. But when you watch the movie, it just seems like obviously like an Anchorman story, but it's not. But still, it's great. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's great to see some new characters like the Australian boss. That's great because they can't understand a word he's saying. Anyone speak Australian and all that, and stuff like that. And you know, Linda Jackson. I don't know who that is. The actress playing Linda Jackson. She's great. But it feels like the next part, which is what it should be, and I think they've done it successfully. I mean, like Kick-Ass 2 or like next Kill Bill movie that Tarantino did. It all slots in together well, and it should do. Because sometimes when they make a sequel, can just kind of let it down. But I don't think they've done that, and I think it's almost perfect. I mean, I was laughing consistently, and I don't think there's really anything to quip about, to be honest. The only quip I would say is Anchorman 3, not really sure about what's going to happen there. Because I think this is so good, maybe they should just lay it off. And because there's the thing at the ending, which sort of suggests that there's going to be no more Anchorman, but I won't say what it is. But yeah, but still, I really like this movie. I give it a solid 9.2.